I'm back today with a really highly requested video. This video is going to be all about how I have made money blogging. I've been a blogger for about 3 years now. I started Blondes and Bagels just about right after college. And I started to monetize it maybe a year after I started the blog. So I get a lot of questions about how I personally make money blogging, and I also get a lot of questions from bloggers that are just starting out, how they can go about making money as well. So I really wanted to make a video to kind of answer some of these questions, and then I also asked you guys on my Instagram stories to ask some questions that you'd like to have answered all about either blogging or making money blogging, and I thought I would answer some of those in this video. So if this is a topic that interests you, stick around and make sure to hit subscribe down below to see more videos like this. So let's get cracking. Okay, so as far as making money as a blogger in general, and just kind of talking through some of the main ways that I make money, there are 3 primary ways that bloggers can make money. Okay, so number 1 would be sponsored posts. This is probably the way that most of us visibly are able to see that bloggers are monetizing. So every time you go on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform and you see either a hashtag ad or a hashtag sponsored, that means that the blogger has partnered with a brand to bring you specific content and they are paid for that content. So there are a couple ways to go about getting sponsored posts. You can pitch the brand directly yourself, come up with an idea, send them an email, and kind of concept your own idea, and then negotiate the rate for that piece of content, whether it be a blog post, an Instagram post, or a YouTube video. The other way you can go about getting sponsored posts would be to work through networks. So there are tons of blogging networks out there, whether that be, Tap Influence, Social Fabric, Collectively. That's just to name a few. There are so many different, brand backer. There's just so many different blogging networks out there that you can work with, where they either come to you with specific campaign opportunities or they list out some that you can apply for. So I've done a little bit of both of these. I would say that one of my biggest goals for 2018 would be to try to pitch brands on my own a little bit more. I think when you do that, you have a little bit more flexibility with the type of content you create and the type of campaign and just the brands that you work with, versus if you sign up for a network, you don't have as much freedom in those areas. So for example, one of the platforms that I have worked with the most has been Social Fabric. I'm a really big fan of Social Fabric. I started with SoFab back in, it had to be a couple years ago, and when I started with them, they were relatively small and the rates were relatively small, and I've kind of grown as they've grown, so I know that you do have to apply to that network. I'm not really sure what the deal is with how they select who gets in, but what they do is they list out all the active campaign opportunities, and then you can go ahead and apply to those. But it's pretty specific with what they're asking for. They're asking for, a specific type of content about a specific angle. So there's just not a lot of creative freedom there, is the only thing I'll say is kind of a bummer. So sponsored posts would be the number 1 way that bloggers can make money. Number 2 would be affiliate links and affiliate partnerships. So anytime you go on Instagram and you see a blogger saying, shop this using the Like to Know It app, that is an affiliate program. So essentially what an affiliate means is that every time the blogger sells something, so like you buy this dress or this lipstick, I would then get a commission off of that sale, because essentially the blogger is a salesperson and is selling a product. So it could be 10%, it could be 7%, it could be 2%, but there are affiliate programs kind of all over the place, and a lot of different networks have their own affiliate program. Reward Style is one of the main affiliate networks. Through Reward Style, every sale is what results in a commission, whereas if you do Shop Style, every click gives you a certain amount of commission. So it can be based on sales, it can be based on clicks. Some brands even have their own affiliate programs. I know Erin Condren, for one, actually has their own affiliate program. So for example, if you use my Erin Condren link, you would get a discount, but then I would also get a little bit of kickback for that. The main thing I want to point out with affiliate sales is that it comes at no cost to the consumer. And I like to really be transparent with my followers about that. If you buy something using one of my links, it doesn't cost you any more. It actually just gives me a kickback as sort of like a reward for finding that item for you. From a blogging perspective, I would say that affiliate links are a little bit tougher to make a good amount of money from, because the commissions are not high. So in order to make a full-time income off of affiliate linking alone, you'd have to be selling a lot of items. So that's just something to keep in mind. And this kind of brings up something that I will probably refer to a few times in this video, which is that I don't think there's any one way that a blogger should focus on making money. You should make sure to diversify your income, because it's really hard to make all your money off of sponsored posts or all of your money off of affiliate linking. And in some months you might make more in one and less in the other. So you kind of just have to make sure that you're diversifying your income to have a little bit here and a little bit there. But affiliate links are the second way a blogger can make money. And then the third main way would be actually selling a product. After a certain amount of time, when you've established your community and your blog and your brand as an expert in a certain area, you can then develop a product to sell to your followers. A great example of this would actually be the Skinny Confidential. So Lauren Everts Bostic now, she actually just got married, is the blogger behind the Skinny Confidential, and she spent years developing her brand as a health, wellness, fitness, realness kind of brand. And at some point she was able to write a book, sell the book, and I'm sure that that is something that has done really well for her and is passive income now. On top of that, she's also developed a meal plan and an exercise guide, I believe. I have not bought that yet, but I've considered it. So if you get to that point in your blogging career where you've built a community, you can then actually make a product that is relevant to that community, and you already have the audience to sell to. Another great example of this is actually really recent. Julia from Gal Meets Glam is actually starting her own apparel line, a line of dresses. So she spent years building up Gal Meets Glam, and within the span of 2 days of launching the Instagram for her new brand, it has more followers than I do on Instagram. So because she already has that established community, as soon as she decided to make something and to sell something, it's going to be successful. The third way to make money blogging would be to sell a product. So those are the three main ways that you can make money blogging as a blogger, and those are definitely the three main ways that I have made money. That's not to say that these are the only ways that you can make an income blogging. I'm sure there are so many other ways. You can write for other blogs, you can freelance, you can do social media management. There are just so many different ways that you can go ahead and make money through blogging, but those are pretty much the three that I would say are the largest percent of income for most bloggers. I also want to reiterate what I said about diversifying your income. So if you are a blogger, make sure that you're not spending too much time on any one of these different ways to make money, because at the end of the day, you might have 3 sponsored posts in 1 month and no affiliate sales, but then the next month you might do really well in affiliate sales but have no sponsored blog posts. So it's really important to kind of have the ability to make money through different channels. That way you can have a little bit more of a sense of security. So I'm gonna bring up my phone now because I had asked my friends on Instagram to go ahead and send in any questions that you guys had about making money in blogging, and I got a lot of direct messages, so I just want to call out a few and answer some questions for you guys. So it'll be a little bit more personal, less about like the general vagueness of how to make money, and a little bit more kind of getting into exactly how I do it and some of my advice for how to monetize your blog. Okay, so the first question comes from Jordan, and she lives in Wisconsin. So hi Jordan. The question is, I would love if you could answer a few of my questions. Number 1, I've been consistently blogging for 2 years and I've not earned a penny, so any tips on where to start? That's a really great question. I think that a lot of people kind of go through this phase of trying to figure out when is the right time to start monetizing and how to start monetizing. The number one thing I would say that you should do right now is act as if you are monetizing before you even are. And what I mean by that is make sure that you're highlighting to your followers the, either the products you love or the classes you love. Make sure that you're adding value and pointing out things that have added value in your life to your followers. So that way, when it's time to monetize, so for example, to do a sponsored post or to sign up for an affiliate program, it's already natural for your followers to kind of hear some of the things that you're talking about, and it doesn't seem like such a stark change that all of a sudden you're making money. The other thing that I would really recommend doing would be to actually just sign up for ShopStyle. So ShopStyle, anybody can apply and become a member of ShopStyle. ShopStyle is a click-based affiliate link network. There's no, traffic minimum or follower minimum to make it into that program. Anybody can start using those links. So I would really recommend signing up for ShopStyle if you haven't already. Reward Style you do have to apply to, and God only knows how they choose people to get into that program. So I would recommend starting with ShopStyle. Okay, so number 2 is how to get brands to notice me. So that's a really good question. Again, I would kind of go back to what I was saying, which is sort of like priming your audience and priming your followers for making money. And that would be just to tag the brands as you talk about them. So for example, last night on my stories, I did a whole ad hoc like nighttime routine. I took people through all the, products that I use when I'm getting ready for bed. So my toothbrush, my face washes, all of that good stuff. So I showed 5 face washes last night, and I made sure in my stories to tag every single one of the brands in the stories. And I actually had a lot of them reply back. So you'd be surprised how often brands actually will see and reply to tagging either on Instagram in the feed or on stories. So make sure that you're tagging brands. I think that's a really great way to kind of have them get to notice you. That's the garage downstairs. We live right above the garage. Okay, and Jordan's last question is, how can I drive more traffic to my blog to make more money? This is a constant struggle. I'll say that I have months where I do really well and months where, my traffic is really down. So if you're ever feeling like you're kind of not hitting the traffic goal that you want to hit, know that it happens to everyone. I would really, really recommend focusing more time on Pinterest and SEO. These are 2 highly underrated blogging, tips and tricks. Pinterest is a highly underrated platform, but it's a search engine. If people type something in, it literally brings up all of the most relevant content that is related to that person's search. So I've had some pins that kind of go viral. For example, my pin about how to buy your first designer handbag, that still brings passive traffic into me every day. And the more action that pin sees, the more Pinterest actually continues to bump that up to the top of the feed when people search. So it's really important to make sure that you are optimizing your Pinterest account. There are so many articles. You can actually go on Pinterest and search for them, but there's so many articles on how to gain more blog traffic via Pinterest. I would really recommend that a lot of bloggers take a little bit of time to kind of clean up their boards, clean up their profile, and get some pins kind of up and running there. On top of that, I would also recommend that you look at your blog and make sure that you are search engine optimizing all of your blog posts. It is so crazy how much SEO can help a blog post gain traffic. I wrote a post about movie Inside Out. I wouldn't say this is content I would write now. I don't really do like movie reviews or anything like that, but that post, because it was right after the movie came out and I optimized it, still brings passive traffic onto my site every single day. I'm not saying that, that's always the type of traffic I want, but it's more people seeing my blog and my brand, and that at the end of the day is going to result in more people sticking around. So I would really make sure that you're spending time on Pinterest and spending time doing SEO. Okay, so the next question comes from, I don't know if it's Kara or Kara, but she does the blog Prescriptions and Peaches, which is just so cute. So the question is, how long did it take you from blog launching to when you started making money? I think that this question, the answer varies for everyone. For me, it was about a year. Blogging is, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So I often tell people that if you're getting into blogging to make money and get free stuff, probably should try something else because it's so much work and it does take time. So I went about a full year. During that year, I made sure that I was posting consistently. I probably racked up at least 60 posts. I also made sure that I switched over to self-hosting, so I wasn't doing a free WordPress blog anymore. And then after that year, that's when I joined Social Fabric, and that's when I started making money. It was like in the spring of the second year of blogging. We're just gonna have to deal with the fact that people are gonna keep opening the garage. But the next question comes from the Instagram user T_Lux. So the question is tips on negotiating rates and how to do your taxes. I'm gonna be real honest, I'm not the person to ask about taxes. I still get anxiety when I think about blogging taxes. There are so many little idiosyncrasies to it. I really just think that you should consult with a professional, ask a friend who's in tax. The only other tip I can say is that I do my best to keep track of the blogging expenses and income separately from my own. So my blog has its own bank account. That way when I buy things like a camera or a Facebook ad, it's very clear that that is blog money and not my money, if that makes any sense. As for tips on negotiating rates, I would say always make sure that you ask for more than you think you can get. A lot of brands think that it's okay to ask bloggers to work for free or little to nothing, and at the end of the day, it takes so much time to write, to concept, to style a photo shoot, to be in the photo shoot. all of these, and to SEO I mean, we were just talking about search engine optimization. Like that takes so much time to create pins and do all these other things. So make sure that you're really calculating your time appropriately and be honest about brands, you know, when it comes to setting those rates. I actually think it's totally okay to tell a brand why you charge what you charge, you know, and that these are the things that it includes. So I would just make sure to be very transparent and also to make sure not to devalue your time. The next question comes from Michaela B. So Michaela asked, how long did it take you to start getting recognized as a blog and get sponsorships? Like I said, it kind of took about that year for me to get my first sponsored opportunity. I would say that in that year, it kind of took off from there. Once I did one, I was able to use that as an example of something I had done with a brand, and more brands were interested in working with me. It kind of only takes one to really get the ball rolling, and then you can kind of build up your media kit from there. So for me, it was about a year. Okay, so I got another question. I cannot for the life of me pronounce your username. I'm so sorry, but it's really exciting because this question actually came all the way from India. So it's kind of amazing that we have a community that reaches that far. Hey there, it would be great if you could talk about your early days, like when you had just started blogging and what beginners should ensure they do to be successful. Also, how much time do you devote to blogging every day since you still have a full-time job but manage your blog so well? So thank you for that little bit of sunshine, because that makes me feel so good to hear that someone thinks I'm managing it well while juggling a full-time job. So as far as the early days go, I really, from the very beginning, treated it as if it was going to be something that could be full-time, and that's probably my biggest piece of advice when you're in those early days, is make sure that you're putting the time and effort into it. Definitely don't do it if you don't love it, because otherwise it's going to be so much work and burn you out. Just make sure that you're putting in the time, make sure that you're being consistent. I think consistency is a huge thing, especially when starting out. Make sure that your followers know when they can expect content from you. Try and be consistent. It doesn't have to be posting every single day, but you know, if it's once a week or if it's twice a week, try and make sure it's on the same days. That way your followers kind of know when to check back. And the other thing I would say, especially during the early days, is make sure that you're adding value. Even if you're not in the early days, now I struggle with it, and I think that that's something that either makes or breaks a really successful blogger, is you have to make sure that you are adding value to your readers. If you're writing a post, why are you writing it? How is it helpful to the person reading it? So kind of make sure as you're starting out that everything you're doing has that little bit of a lens or a filter on it, so that way when it comes time to monetize or to grow, people know what they can expect from you. They know that you're helpful, they know they can come to you to be an expert on certain things, and brands then will more want to work with you because it's all about how you're adding value to the consumer, and it makes their product seem like a seamless fit in that person's life. So those are the things I would say to focus on while starting out. As far as how much time I devote to my blog weekly, I don't know that I even know how to truly calculate that, because I'm always chipping away at different things at night after I get home. I really try and sit down during the weekends and make sure that I'm blocking off, you know, a few hours here and there. But there's so many things that I try and do even throughout the day. So, you know, stories is a huge way to stay connected with people. I try and make sure that I always have a story live, that I never have, you know, a dark Instagram day. I would say strive for progress over perfection, and that was one of the biggest things that I, you know, kind of set my intentions for with 2018, which is to make sure that I am really striving for progress and not perfection. So this next question comes from Dominique, and the question was, how do you get partnerships with brands? Like I talked about, there are those different ways that you can work with a brand, so whether that's through a network or pitching. Primarily for myself, I have worked with Social Fabric, Tap Influence, and I believe Brand Backer is the other one that's been really good to me, or Blog Meets. Actually, Blog Meets Brand is another good one. There's so many networks out there. I've done other, you know, sponsored campaigns through Influencer, which is another blogging network that you can become a part of. So I would go and check out some of those blogging networks. Those have done really well for me, and the reason why they've done well for me at this point in time is because it's a little bit easier to navigate, you know, creating that partnership when it's in a platform versus when you're pitching the brand yourself. If you're pitching the brand yourself, not only do you actually have to pitch and find the right person to pitch and think about how to pitch, but on top of that, you have to make sure that you're managing the contract and keeping on top of payment and all of these other things. So, you know, I have not done the best that I probably can on pitching myself, but for me, primarily, I've worked with networks and I've done all right. So whatever works for you. Okay, so those are all the questions that I'm gonna answer today. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below. I really love hearing from you guys and I would love to answer any blogging questions you have. I'll also include in the info box below a couple articles I've written on some of my blogging best practices, so either how to start a blog or how to grow an Instagram community, just different things like that. I'm gonna leave all those links for you guys down in the info box below. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to either post them down below, send me a direct message on Instagram, or send me an email. I'll make sure that you guys have all the information and I am here to help. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up so that I know and that I can create more videos like this for you. And if you're not part of the family already, I would love to have you subscribe and join my Bagel Babe family. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and I will catch you next time. Bye guys.